Alright, so tonight I want to talk about a video I watched just now. I watched PewDiePie's update to his drawing challenge. Basically, the past year, he's made 3 videos, I think, on his drawing. So the first one was like 30, the next one was like 100 days, and just today he posted one where it's a whole year of drawing. And the premise of his video was every day he would draw, and he kind of just showed his progress. And naturally, you can see that his progress is immense. From day 1 that he started drawing, which is like normal drawings that anyone would make, I guess, with no practice, to day 30, which was massively improved, day 100, even better. And I didn't watch the whole video that he posted today, but just by the thumbnail and things that I've seen in the video, I can tell that the drawing's even better than it was at the 100-day mark. This kind of served as a reminder that to improve at something, what matters most is just doing that thing. There's so much that you could do to improve. You could learn specific techniques, you can watch courses, you can learn strategies, you can do all this stuff, but almost always seems to be the case is that improvement happens with repetition. Just committing to doing something a lot consistently, you just improve over time doing that. That doesn't mean you don't take up strategies like with PewDiePie. He would draw, and yes, he would also watch videos about techniques he could use. He would also look at pictures for inspiration. He would stencil anime faces and stuff, and that all helps. But the main thing is his commitment to just every day, I'm gonna draw. And yeah, the progress is insane. You can just tell. The driving force, again, the driving force is just the commitment to putting in the hours, basically, putting in the practice consistently. This is almost always the case. Another example in my mind is that with bosses in the Souls series, Elden Ring, Dark Souls 3. I just finished Dark Souls 3, as you might see the video. I loved it. Anyway, in these games, when you fight a boss, typically what happens is you fight the boss. The first time you fight it, you're going to be pretty bad. You're probably going to lose very quickly. And most players that I know don't really have a strategy. They just keep fighting the boss over and over again. There's this meme with Patrick Bateman where it's like fighting the boss for the 100th time, damn well knowing I'm not going to change my strategy. And to be honest, that's not a bad strategy, because what most players notice is eventually they just figure it out. They figure out the boss. As you try the boss more and more times, you notice these patterns like, oh, I've seen that move before. Let me try dodging it this way or that way, doing this. And these things kind of click, like this works, okay, that works. And then when it works, it kind of ingrains in your system more. You've learned. That's what learning is. Small Ant was doing a video on Elden Ring's DLC, and somebody in his Twitch chat said, "You're losing." And Small Ant responded, "No, I'm not losing. This is learning." And that's what he means when it's just the practice of doing it over and over again. You learn things. You get those like aha moments. You get inspired and you realize something. You get an insight. Yes, you could watch videos like boss guides, and you can take that information and it'll probably help you, but it's not going to do anything unless you actually practice, because it'll point you to certain things you can do to improve, but you're only going to notice those things if you actually practice the boss. You might watch the video of a boss guide and then go to the boss, and then you see the thing that they mentioned in the video, the specific move, and then you're like, oh, okay, that's that move. I know how to dodge it better now. Point is, the motivating force, again, with PewDiePie's drawing, it's the commitment to just drawing every day. With the Elden Ring analogy, it's the commitment to fighting the boss. You might pick up helpful tips and tricks along the way, but ultimately the foundation for all of that is just fighting the boss, and honestly, not much else is required. It just helps. So there's a few things to add. One thing is that it's not simply a commitment to do anything, because some things are going to be too high of a level. In the Elden Ring example, if you are a brand new player to the game and you try and fight the final boss at your level 1 character, you're probably not going to enjoy it. You're going to have a very hard time learning the moves. You will die in like one hit. It's going to be not optimized for learning, technically. If you do that every day, you will eventually beat the boss, but this is very unrewarding, because you're not going to get that sense of success until you beat the boss, or maybe until you learn a move or whatever. it's just not optimal. The point of this is you want to be consistent in what you're doing. If something is too hard, like the final boss is too hard, start with the easier boss, right? Because that way you have more of an arsenal to work with it, and your learning is you're gonna learn faster because you have more of a health pool. The boss is gonna be easier if you're brand new to the game. All this stuff kind of links to each other and makes learning so much easier, makes all those light bulbs go off way quicker. In PewDiePie's example, his goal is just to draw whatever every day, and that's what he did. If he had a goal to draw like a masterful art piece, like if let's just say that the last drawing that he did in his video after 365 days, if his goal was to draw that on the first day, he would almost never have gone there. Probably he would have probably given up way earlier, because it's just not there for him yet. Yes, it's about showing up, but also the specific outcome needs to be at a level that is motivating, that is, I don't want to say realistic, because it's, yes, you can do things realistically with enough time, even if you have no practice, but it's just more close. It's like there's an apple on the tree that you can just grab. It's not like an apple that's in outer space and you have to learn how to fly to get there. Yeah, I guess another thing is outlines and more structured processes to learning. The thing that comes to mind for me is courses, whether you're in school or maybe you're learning from an online course. And I think these could be useful at times in learning, but I still think that the foundation for learning is just doing something. And those courses and materials are really just supplements to help like point you in the right direction. Going back to the Elden Ring analogy, if you look at a guide to beating a boss before you even fight the boss, you're gonna have a harder time connecting the dots because you don't have experience with the moves the boss has, the timing. You might watch it and that, like the video, the guide video, and that might help you understand what the boss will be like. In fact, you know, I've like when I was playing Dark Souls 3, I actually watched Moist Critical's playthrough before I played, so I was familiar with a lot of the bosses before I started. Yes, that helped me to a degree, also because by that point I've had, you know, 200 hours in Souls games, so I was already familiar with how bosses work. But for someone who's just starting out and you don't even have the understanding of what rolling is and what punish windows are, watching a guide video is not going to be very helpful for you. This goes to another example. Maybe you're learning how to code or to program. You've never coded before, and you start off with a course on Udemy or something, which is kind of what I did. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, you can learn, and I did learn a fair amount, but because I was being guided by this sort of structure and I wasn't being guided by my internal curiosity to try things out, I didn't really get very far in that. I haven't made much, if anything, unique. I made a lot of projects that were in the program, but I didn't really go my own way and try different things, which is what learning really is. It's being able to take what you've learned and apply it, not just learn how to do things the way that they say. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but I'm trying to convey it as best as I possibly can. Other thing is with outlines and structure, for different people, it can be more or less motivating. For me, I found it to be less motivating, again, because it's not really an intrinsic motivation to create something that I want to create. And that goes to the next point, where when you're learning something, you're going to do a lot better with it if you have a desire for the outcome. What do I mean by this? Let's say you're playing basketball and you're learning how to shoot. You've never shot a basketball in your life. You're going to the basketball court. What do? You start shooting. You know that your desired outcome is going to be to make shots. Whenever you make a shot with your sloppy ass form, your body, your brain, your nervous system is going to get that like aha, that light bulb thing happening again. Every time you make a shot, you're going to get that positive reinforcement. Basically, you're not going to think through it structurally. Okay, I made that shot because my hand was 35 degrees to the right and my fingertips spun the ball at a certain rate of speed. You're not going to know these things. You just literally just shoot. You know, your body kind of figures it out on its own. You shoot. That's what I was trying to do with my hands earlier. You just put up repetitions constantly and your body just figures it out. It just learns how to do it. Yes, as you go along, and this is for other fields as well, as you go along, structured material can help you. Maybe you've gotten to a point where you're seeing diminishing returns from just going to the court and shooting. Now you might get more progress or get more results with a program, a training program, or maybe a coach will tell you, okay, your shot's off because your elbow is tucked in too much or it's going out. Same with when you're learning to code, maybe you've had a mini project you've done on your own, but now you're kind of hitting a wall because you're not getting the challenge you need to try different things. Maybe a course will help you then. Same with PewDiePie. You can see that in the beginning, he started by just drawing. Eventually, he kind of hit a wall. Then he went out to get assistance. He watched videos for guides and whatnot. But as you can see, the foundation is always just doing something. I would go as far as to say that, in my opinion, you should only go as far as to get external help or learning something like structurally to the degree that it's not going to stop you from doing the thing. So in my case, an example of these YouTube videos, in the beginning, I would make a structure for them. I would make an outline, a template. I'd write in my notes like certain sections that I want to talk about within the video. That worked a couple times, but then I ended up taking like a 6-month break or however long it was, because for me, in my case, that structure ended up being an impediment for me. It was like, oh, I don't want to have to make the structure before I make the video. I just want to make the video and post it. Yes, I made a few more videos after that with a structure. The meditation one was a structured video. The other 2 videos I made that were structured didn't do very well. The Does Life Have Any Meaning video was, I think it was structured. In my case, it's proven to, at this stage, right, in the future, when I have more time, if I'm more committed to this, the structure might be helpful for me. But at the current moment, it's actually impeding me because it's slowing me down from creating content and makes things less fun for me, less motivating. Like right now, what makes things fun for me is just talking to the camera, improving my ability to speak spontaneously, to generate insight and explaining it on the fly, posting content and getting insight as to the results, you know, the views, the impressions. That's really motivating for me, and I enjoy doing that. Yes, the actual video, the end result that I make itself might be lower quality than if I were to spend more time on it, more planning, more structure. But at this stage, when you're starting something new, when you're learning a new skill, when you're figuring something out for the first time, if you want to get better, you just do something. You just do it over and over and over again. That's how you get better at something. Just the past month or so that I've made more videos, I've improved a lot. The actual end results of the videos that I've made have been not great, both in the actual content of the video and the results with views and whatnot. But I've learned a lot. Like just the last video that I made about Dark Souls, the compilation, I learned, even though the thumbnail was pretty lazy, I learned a lot just making that thumbnail. I figured out, okay, so a lot of these Souls videos, I noticed that the thumbnail is like Tobey Maguire or Homelander or some actor. So okay, that's what I thought. I figured out maybe I'll try putting Homelander on my thumbnail. Then I realized, okay, I need Homelander to have a transparent background. I figured how to do that. Then I figured out, okay, I need a Dark Souls background. I did that. I need the right font. I figured that out. Even just making that thumbnail, which looks not great and is kind of lazy, I learned like 5 different things, and I'm going to be able to carry that with me forward as I make new stuff, new thumbnails, new videos. Same with the video itself. I figured out, okay, I have all these clips. Let me screen grab the clips using a different software, cut out the watermark from the software that I use for clipping, putting it together. I did a whole bunch of special effects. I had a scene in the video where my character attacked with his hammer and it completely missed. I had the idea come up in my mind, another light bulb, that I was like, okay, I want to zoom in on that hammer missing because I think it's going to be funny. I figured that out. Again, the end result might not be spectacular, but the amount that I've learned creating that product is immense. And that was done simply because I sat down that day and decided to make that video. That's all it took. And because I've learned all of that stuff from my own desire to do this stuff, all of that is going to carry over to the future. So it's not like necessarily that your videos or whatever you do are going to get better one by one. Every video is better than before. Every drawing you do is going to be better than before. Every boss fight you do will be better than before. Not necessarily, but the long-term trend is going to improve if you just continue working at things. And I think, yeah, the main point being, yes, if you hit a plateau, you might need some guidance. You might need to try something new. PewDiePie actually mentioned in the video that he got to this point where he hit a plateau. He kept drawing anime girls and he wasn't improving. Then the moment he switched to anime guys instead, he started improving because he was trying something new. That's useful to switch things up, to think about it and try new things. If you're still learning a lot just by doing stuff, then continue doing. You don't have to be perfect with everything you make. In fact, you're probably not going to be. The stuff you make is simply not going to be perfect almost ever. There's almost always going to be stuff that you can make, that you can do to your stuff, your whatever you do, that can improve it. You could just look at my last Dark Souls video. The thumbnail could have been improved. Maybe I just use a headshot of Homelander. I got rid of the knight in the background. I changed the title in the thumbnail to something more catchy. I don't know. There's so many things to try. I don't know for sure, but the point is like trying all these different things. Yes, but it's a process of long-term gradually improving on this. You might get to a point in the future where you have a setup, you have a structure, and it works for you, and you a formula, and you keep doing that. That's great, but when you're learning something, you have to get your hands dirty and just make a lot of crappy shit before you make something really good. For me, in my case, my YouTube channel has not blown up. I've not gotten a lot of videos in most cases. Subscriber count is still low, but I can tell you just by making all these videos, I already know a ton that I can improve, including, you know, camera can be improved, audio can be improved, thumbnails can be improved, editing can be improved in many ways, titles, video length, ideas for videos, the ability to speak and articulate my thoughts and ideas can be improved. A lot can be improved. And some of this is very simple stuff, like, okay, getting a camera, it's just a matter of having the money for it. Audio, same thing. Other stuff, it's like a little more in the gray area, like, all right, improving thumbnails. Maybe I'll do this next time, maybe I'll do this next time. And speaking clearly and articulating my ideas is just a sustained practice, which again requires doing. So yeah, I'm happy I was able to speak for this long. When I was thinking about this video today, I was considering like writing down all this stuff about it and writing notes. I just realized that that would stop me from making the video as I would want to, so I didn't do that. And yeah, I'm sure I can say more. Again, another thing I guess that I can add is that yes, you will miss out on some cool things you can do for your projects, whatever you're doing. You do a drawing and you finish it, you might realize later, oh, I could have done this, and this. That's fine. You're just going to make another drawing and you're going to include that. It's an ongoing process. Like this video, I'm telling you for sure that once this video is done, I'm going to have all these insights pop up of what I could have done, but I didn't do. That's fine. That's just a symptom of learning, and that learning is carried on to the next project. And that's kind of what I want to have you guys take away from this video, is just to do stuff. Continually do stuff. If you're learning to draw like PewDiePie was, start by just doing it. If you need some help in the middle of it, then you get some help, but don't let that help stop you from drawing or doing whatever you want to do. That's the whole point, is to do it over and over and over again. Same thing goes with even like getting a job and improving your resume. An employer most likely is not going to care if all you've done in your Python career is complete a Python course. They want to see real projects, real things that you've created. If you've completed a course, even if your skills up to par, you're not going to have much to show for it. On the other hand, if you start from scratch, you make some really crappy Python programs like 1+1 or something, you know, something super basic, and every project you improve and improve and improve, by the end of a certain period of time, you're going to have a lot of really good projects on your portfolio. Same thing with PewDiePie's. He just focused on drawing every day, started off kind of, you know, amateur, and by the end of it, now, like, if he just selected like 3 or 4 of his best drawings, I think most people would be shocked and would think that he's an amazing artist. And you look back on day one, it wasn't a bad drawing, but it's just like not a great drawing. So yeah, again, I'm sure there's much more I can say, but ultimately I'm just glad I sat down to make this video, and yeah.
Yeah, that's really about it. So, yeah.